Welcome to the Brand Doctor Podcast, strategies that help entrepreneurs build reputable and profitable brands. Here's your host, Henry Kaminski Jr.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Henry Kaminski, aka the Brand Doctor's in the house today with a very, very special guest. I'm killing a lot of birds with one stone today. So I'm actually going to do another podcast recording because I want my man Dom Fawcett featured on one of the episodes. We're coming up on the 82nd episode, Dom. And so I want you to be part of that. I want all my Branding on Demand and Brand Accelerator clients showcased on my podcast. And so I figured I owe you guys some value today inside the group. So I'm going to do the podcast in here while me and Dom really shoot the shit about how he's come so far in just 7 or 8 months in his brand and how he's impacting lives in his market to raising the standard and raising the bar for his clients. So the name of the podcast is actually going to be called Embrace the Suck, which I think that's awesome. And so I'm going to go ahead and count to 3, start the podcast, and we'll get the show on the roll. So 3, 2, 1. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Henry Kaminski here from uniquedesignz.net with another Brand Doctor podcast episode for you guys. Today, I have a very, very, very special guest, one client of mine who I can call my friend, a mentor, and just someone who inspires the hell out of me. And I'm just so blessed to be able to work with him. I want to introduce all of you guys to my man, Dom Fawcett from ThinkReactLead.com. What's going on, Dom?
Hey, life is good in my world. I'm on this side of the dirt. I can control everything else that happens or that comes my way. So I'm good.
Love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So listen, Dom, you've been a Branding on Demand client now since January of this year. And we've worked already in 2016 some as well, right, getting you set up. And so I wanted to take half of this episode, kind of talk about your experience building your brand literally from the ground up, right, and what's changed, because dude, you were working a 9 to 5 about 6 months ago, and now the game has changed for you.
Hey, it got real. So in my world, like Henry just got finished saying, we've been working probably towards the latter part of 2016, and I was working a corporate gig for a while, and I recently left this year, July 28th to be exact, but it's a process. I remember I pointed you to a website and said, how do I look like this? And you're like, dude, it's a process. And in that moment, I was like, I don't really know about this whole process thing. Like, I've done a lot of pretty cool stuff with other careers, ex-cop, prior military. Like, this is one process that's simple, but no, it makes complete sense. I'm going to skip ahead to today, and then I'm going to work my way backwards. So I'm a speaker and I'm a coach, but in the speaker's world, to really be successful, you typically need a speaker's broker, unless you're already on that platform like your Tonys and your Eric Thomases, which I'm not there yet. You can't pick your speaker's broker. Your speaker's broker picks you. It's almost like a sports agent, right? They kind of come find you, they scout you for a while, and then they pick you. Well, in the speaking world, it's kind of the same thing. So last week, somebody sent me an email, said, hey, you may want to look into this speaker's broker. And I looked. Long story short, I filled out the application, but every link that needed to be provided in the application was a link that was previously touched or owned by Unique Designz, from just everything, website, right? So I put the link to the website in there, superfluously confident about putting my website in there. Then how many coaching clients I've had, how many speaking opportunities I've had, what does my podcast look like? So podcast imagery, right? That was on there. So when they pull up all of these links from my Instagram to my Facebook to my Twitter to the website and all the images that you guys have created, everything is succinct. Everything lines up. So when I actually have an interview with them today at 1. So in about 45 minutes, I'll be interviewing. And this is really, so for me, the process and branding, it clicked long time ago, but it makes sense now. You can't just, I'm 39 and I could have easily compared myself to the 20-year-olds that are on social media that are making things happen, which I've seen my clients do, but it's really not about how old you are. It's how long you've been embracing the suck. I've been embracing the suck for a minute, and every now and then you get these trickles of awesomeness, a new client, a ClickFunnels goes well, or for me in this case, I'm about to be sponsored by a actual firm to do what I do. And that's where the money comes into play. So we're talking like a minimum of $7,500 each time that you speak. And that's just to start. But that all started with branding. Had I not invested the time, the energy, and most importantly, the money into branding and a coach and sticking to the process and taking so money spent and feedback taken, and then pivoting at that moment, you get the feedback and not getting your feelings hurt. That's what has allowed Think React Lead to expand.
Yeah, that's awesome, Dom. And I have to tell you, you are so coachable. There's no reason why. It's no surprise to me that you're experiencing the success that you're experiencing now, because you've taken direction so well. And as a leadership coach, an executive coach and leadership speaker,
right,
you're the one that's typically doing the coaching 9 times out of 10. And so when we get on our strategy calls, it's crazy because you're there, you're taking notes, you're sitting right there at that seat, you're taking notes, you're executing. And, when I tell you, all right, we're going to do this for the next 2 weeks, I got messages coming back to you in my inbox, like, you make it happen. And so I just want to give you a huge shout out for that, because, I can talk to all of my clients or to my audience here till I'm purple in the face. If you don't take action, nothing happens. And so real quick, my last question on this topic is, what was the biggest misconception you had prior to working with me as a brand developer? What was the biggest misconception you had about branding that I was able to help clarify for you so that you were like, aha, now I know the method to his madness?
That it's a process. Like you don't just pay for a website and then think it's going to get done. Like you think you're going to build clients. You don't just pay for images and post them on social media and think it's going to get done. You don't just pay for your podcast stuff and then think it's going to, like, there's so many variations to branding. And when I say so many, so they're not different variations. They're actually variations that have to be implemented throughout your journey, if you will. So for me, I think of branding. I think Coca-Cola, I think Netflix, I think Dell Computers, Apple. So that's what I think of when I think of branding. But then go back, and we've all seen we saw how Apple started in the garage. So for me, Think React, and honestly, Think React Lead didn't start off as Think React Lead. It was Leaders for Leaders. So be okay with changing, and be okay. Like I had to be okay with changing. I was a corporate guy for 14 years. I'm an ex-cop, prior military. Everything had to be a certain way, but I had to grow, and I had to understand this whole world of entrepreneurship and the way that you guys are now. I can consider myself an entrepreneur. The way that we think is very different, but the process. So for me, my takeaway from inception till now was it's a process. It's a step-by-step ladder effect, if you will. And so many entrepreneurs, I see them they start the ladder, but then they start going over here, going up here. I mean, I've seen speakers turn to coaches, turn to try to do what you do and try to turn into brokers. I'm like, dude, you're not going to make it.
You're trying to be everything to everyone, and now you're no one to anyone. And that's the biggest thing. And you and I always play around with this term because it's one of the one-liners I gave you way in the beginning, which was staying in your lane.
Yep.
And and you've been a model student for that and just been out there on social media, just absolutely crushing it because you're staying in your lane and you're delegating the stuff that you have no business doing. And that's why that's why you've excelled so quickly. You were able, I remember January 1, you said, by December of this year, I want to be full-time Think React lead. And when I got that message in June that I'm putting in my 2 weeks, and you went, it's 6 months sooner, I was proud of you, dude. And so I just want to tell you that you're doing the right thing, and you are going to be a force to be reckoned with in 2018. I can tell you right now, because I got some cool ideas. 2017
was practice.
Yeah, I got some cool ideas for you coming up next year. And I could just see you're getting more comfortable in your skin. And this is what I want to talk about for the next part of this episode, is embracing the suck. So tell my audience what exactly that means so they get the idea.
All right. So when you're on deployment, you're in the military, which I was, and you go on deployment. For me, I was issued summertime BDUs in the winter because we were in North Africa, and you think it's going to be hot. Nope, it's cold. My boots were too big. But this guy named Tech Sergeant Troutman, he was one of my sergeants on my deployment, and he always would just say, embrace the suck. Like that was his response to everything. And I haven't used that up until recently I use it with my clients, and I use it like with myself. Like the process is going to suck. And anything of beauty is rained down on. If you look at a waterfall, like behind the waterfall, that rock is getting shattered, right? Mm-hmm. But at first, the rocks, it has all these edges, and the water's coming over, and the waterfall is not pretty. But after a couple of years, that rock is smoothed over, and then it becomes a very gradient, smooth rolling waterfall. And then people take pictures and post them on Instagram, but they don't understand, like, there was a lot of suck that happened there. Same thing with me and my business. I had to make a decision to leave the corporate job. Then I had to make a decision to do other things within my business. And I have to understand that, I'm going to get screwed over sometimes during, you're paying different people. And I recently learned, never do business with unhappy people. I don't care how long they've been in business. If they are not happy as just a person, don't do business with them. Because when you grow based off something they're helping you doing, that adverse subconscious kicks in and says, screw him. I should be doing what I made him get to where he's at. And then, that's why I have a new podcast guy. Use Mike from the branding, but that's embracing the suck. Like it's just for people to understand it's going to suck, but guess what? You're alive, and that's cool. And learn from the process, learn from the fact that, you're going to have days that you wake up and you get an argument with your spouse, but you still got clients and you still got to run your business. Your Stripe account might not work, right? Nobody wants that. Or your ClickFunnels might not work. And one thing I've learned in working with, like I work with Henry and all these other people, that they are too going to have bad days. And it is not like, I'm a human being. They're human beings. I can't get on my text message because a ClickFunnels doesn't work and yell at Henry. I can, but I'm not. Understanding, I don't care who you're working with, and I need like everybody to hear this crystal clear. You need to work on being the best client that, if you're paying for a service, you need to be the best client that they have. Because when things come down their way to better their life, you need to be the first person that they think of to better your life. If you're just paying them and you're a jerk, they're going to do the service for you. But when grand opportunities come up, trust me on this one, it will not be presented to you. So understand that people have kids, people have spouses, people have bad days, people get into car accidents, people have, their heater goes out or their electricity goes out for whatever reason, and they have to deal with that. You can't get mad because a person got your ClickFunnels messed up. Like, those kinds of things will happen. That's embracing the suck.
And just for the record, when we first launched when we first launched your funnel, there were some kinks because everyone, I'm not a robot, and so there were some kinks that we had to iron out, right? And then as we ironed them all out, things got a lot smoother. So yes, I raised my hand, and when we rolled things out, did I wish it came out smooth as pie? Yeah, but there were some things that maybe got overlooked because there's so many different pieces of the puzzle. So what we did was, after that experience, I created a checklist, and basically nothing gets launched without going through that checklist. So again, it was a learning experience. When Dom hit me up and he was like, dude, what's going on with this link, blah, blah, blah. And I was on it, right? And I admitted, oh, crap, you're right. Shit. Let me go on and let me just make it happen. And within minutes, we fixed it. So, that's me sort of being a little humble to the fact that I'm not perfect. And as you're launching a brand and you got 7 or 8 different things going on at the same time, things are going to happen. But you played it so professional. You played it so calm and so collect. And like you said, you were a great client. Like, you handled it well. And you know what? A lot of people could have flew off the handle. And like you said, absolutely. You only have one shot to make a great first impression. And it was like that Facebook Live I did last week, right? Where the guy came at me and he wasn't so nice. And at the end of the day, he was replying to his own self-automated messages, which had nothing to do with me at all. Like, now you feel like a real ass because
exactly. You can't take that back.
You can't take it back. So listen, like I said, you've been super, super coachable, and you've been a great client. You've been a stellar client. And that's why I wake up at 2 a.m. and get it done for you, because I know how much you care about me and I care about you.
Right.
And that's powerful. That goes with that. That's some like 7-layer shit right there that people don't pay attention to. And so let me go back to embracing the suck and ask you this question. So you help a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs or current entrepreneurs or business owners take their brands and businesses to the next level. Now, what's the biggest pet peeve you have right now with those folks that don't embrace the suck? They're embarrassed by the suck, and that's holding them back tremendously from taking their business to the next level. So how do you, at a high level, how do you coach them through that?
You know what? Getting people to completely let go of every single thing that got them to where they are currently. Like, letting go of all of that. That is the hardest. It's literally like you throw a rope to a dog and they bring the rope to you and they want to play tug of war. Well, I'm not here to play tug of war. I'm here to just take the rope and get a new rope for you. But they just don't want to let go of that rope. And I deal with a lot of people that are over 30. Most of my clients are well over 30. And there's this 2-part mindset, adverse mindset that they have is, I don't think I have what it takes from a social media standpoint. Like, anytime I tell someone, like, dude, you have to post on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, you have to reply to messages. I don't have time for that. I have a family. Like, bro, I got a family too. Like, it's that next level. And then they don't think they have the energy to quit their corporate gig and jump into what it is that they're passionate about. For example, everybody knows I'm a speaker. When somebody comes to me and says, Dom, I would love to be a speaker. All right, cool. I'm speaking next week. I'll save 5 minutes on stage for you. Just be there and get on stage. I'm not ready. And I don't do that to call them out, but there's not enough speakers out there that give aspiring speakers that kind of opportunity. Like, I'll share a stage with anybody. I just want to see you get up there. And if I have yet to have a person want to step on stage, and just with older clients, it's the social media thing. So and I'm 39, and trust me, my mind was blown with all this social media stuff. I mean, when you and I first met, I had 500 Instagram followers, and it was all bike related stuff. Now I'm at 4,800, if I'm not mistaken, or 4,600. But it's from embracing the suck. I have to post 4 or 5 times a day. right? I have to advise. See, most of my clients are in a relationship. You need to talk to your spouse and tell them this road that you're about to go down. There's going to be times throughout the day that you need about a minute to post. And they can't get upset that that's what you're doing. This is growing the business. The reason why spouses get upset is because there's no effective communication. That guys do this thing where we just think our spouses know what we're thinking, and then we just do it, and that doesn't go well. So I would say the one thing that just kind of gets my goat is the fact that people rely too much on their education that they got back in the 80s and 90s, early 21st century, and they implement their feelings into what it is that they're doing, as opposed to implementing like their passion. And there's a difference. So that passion is that thing that gets you up at 0200 hours in the morning, right? Your passion is what puts a smile on your face all the time. If somebody ticks you off, you're like, who cares? I'm passionate about what I'm doing and staying in my lane. Your feelings is what that guy did that you were talking about as he was ranting about things he was posting, right? Feelings is what could have caused me to get upset at here it was 8 o'clock at night, and there's like almost midnight where I had to pull over. But you know what? At the end of the day, how passionate am I? Am I so passionate about Think, React, Lead that I'm willing to pull over to the side of the road to work with an expert in their field to rectify this for the next 7 minutes? Or do I want to just ignore the text, keep on driving, get home, kick the cat, kick the dog, and be mad at everybody, and then call you out on Facebook? That's feelings.
I love it. I love it. And I think just people are, the word embarrassment just keeps coming up in my mind. And you know what? It's a shame, because embarrassment has nothing to do with them, really. It has everything to do with you. So like,
Exactly.
People, like, at the end of the day, guys, here's what I've realized. People really don't give that much shit about you. Yeah, they really don't. Like,
You're not that important.
You're not that important. So like, you're getting embarrassed for no reason, because you're not really getting embarrassed in front of anyone, because nobody really cares. You know, at the end of the day, they're like, how can you help me? And if you can, and you're authentic about it, and you truly are skillful, then, you know, I'm going to pay you money. I mean, it's that simple. But like, people just want to jump. They think that they're going to do things 3 times and they're going to be experts at it. You know, like my Facebook lives, I think still some of them suck. And like, I hear Tori in the background going, you know, that was 11 minutes. You could have done that in 4. Like, you know, and like, so she's my biggest cheerleader, right? Tori's my wife, right, for all of you guys that don't know. You know, Tori, Dom and his wife met us in Arizona as we were visiting one year. And anyway, so I just have to embrace that and take that feedback and do something with it. Be better at it. Continue to practice and just
right.
You know, I did a podcast about this recently, and I'm just going to bring it up again because I want you guys to sort of put this in your nervous system. I want you guys to look at your branding as a performance. And I want you to look at yourself as a performing artist. And if you're not performing, like, listen, do you think the most famous actors and actresses, George Clooney and Matt Dillon and Ben Affleck and all those guys that have won Oscar and all these awards and shit, like, those guys got up after falling down a gazillion times. That's why they're the best at what they do. And they probably sucked way more than you could ever imagine when they first started. So what Don does is he says, listen, you got to embrace that suck. Just get out there and do it. I'm going to give you the framework. I'm going to give you the guidelines. I'm going to stand right behind you. So when you can cross your arms in front of you and fall backward, I'm going to be right there to pick you up. And there ain't going to be anything that you need to worry about or fear. That's powerful. And then on the flip, you are that guy that gets in your face when when you're not holding yourself accountable and you ask the question, why? Like, why did you, right?
I had a client that was paying me every month. I do 6-month contracts and couldn't get in contact with him. Like, I'm 4 months into it. He's paying me, call, text, video messages, everything, home call, zero. And I had to, for about 2 days, I was kind of hard on myself. I'm like, am I too hard on my clients? Like, and in my head, the answer was yes. Am I too hard? Am I too hard? But then I don't know what happened, but I was like, you know what? I can't be everything to everybody. And everybody wants to be a Navy SEAL, but everybody doesn't have what it takes to go through the training. I'm no Navy SEAL. It's clearly air on that. I'm a little tough, but I'm tough because I'm passionate about what I see in my clients when they come to me, and like, they don't have that confidence. And I'm just like, if you just make these 3 or 4 little tweaks, your world will change. Now, I'm not going to start my conversation off with a bunch of niceties. I'm not going to curse you out, but I'm going to tell you, as my dad says, how the cow ate the cabbage. And I can't be light on that, because this specific person I'm talking about, 3 kids, a wife who doesn't work, and he just needs to get past a couple of hurdles. Because when you get past those hurdles, you monetize them. Like, you start making money. And when you start making money, your family life, not that money changes things. I'm just going to say that money changes where you vacation. I grew up, I vacation once every couple of years in Long Beach. When I got married, we got married in the French Polynesian Islands. It takes money to do that. And I want to say this to the people that aren't the 6 or 7 figure earners. It could just be one person. From a branding perspective, if you have to eat top ramen, if you have to eat peanut butter and syrup sandwiches as you're growing your business, I suggest that you do it. I've been there before. But what happens is nobody knows that you're eating top ramen. Nobody knows that you can barely afford your electricity. All they see is that you are an expert by way of your branding. If Coca-Cola was brown and white, like, the brand X stuff we see in certain grocery stores, most of us wouldn't drink it. But because of the way it's branded, I'm saying all that to say, spend the money, save the money to spend it. Don't count yourself out if you do not have the money to spend on branding. Once I spent on branding, I spent on another business coach. Once I spent on a business coach, I have a PR. That's how I end up on the news, right? But this is that process. Had I never branded Think React Lead, a PR would have never reached out to me and asked me who my PR was. But so now when I'm on the news and the news anchor says, "So Dom Fawcett, give me your website," I can comfortably say it's thinkreactlead.com, or follow me on Instagram or Facebook, because everything is aligned. That's the process.
That's it. That's very well articulated. And that's why you're awesome at what you do, because you know how to delegate. And I told you this a while back, when you start to hire specialists for things, you're going to get to where you want to be a lot faster. Hence your PR person, who's now my PR person,
Right.
and it's funny because, we try to keep we try to keep the squares out of the circle. Right.
Right.
And that's how we've been helping each other really, build each other up. And I totally appreciate that. And so real quick before we leave, you said that there's these minor tweaks. I want to give the audience like some serious tangible. You said that there's some minor tweaks that if you just tweak these, let's just say 3 minor things, right? And you don't have to go into heavy detail. But what are those 3 minor things that you see over and over and over again, where you're just like, this is what you need to tweak? Boom, boom, boom. What are they?
Like the top one is adding value to yourself. We hear it all the time. We read posts about it all the time. But what I want you to do, I struggled with this for a long time. Look in the mirror, face to face, you and you looking in the mirror, and just give yourself 10 things that you're awesome at. Most people can't do that because society is so hard on us. Like the one thing is adding value to who you are and understanding that you're important and the things that you do are important. The second one is owning your confidence. Like if you're good at something, be okay with telling people, yo, I'm the best. And I will tell people in a minute, don't share a stage with me. I will embarrass you, because I look at speaking as a competition. I'm a quarterback on the field. I'm a speaker. Like I make the plays when it comes to speaking. I speak and coach. I let everybody else do everything else. So whatever you're great at, focus on that and talk about that on social media. Talk about that in your circles. And the last thing, you probably need to delete about half of the contacts in your phone, because they're not making you any money. They're not making you feel better about who you are as a person. And unfortunately, most of the contacts of the people we have on our phone, like we can't go say, hey, I just bought a Lamborghini and tell everybody, because then people start hating, as they say. So change your circle. Some of you guys are holding on to high school friends and college friends for what? Let them go. They're just dragging you. They're anchors.
Wow. Well, there you have it, guys. I mean, those are 3 nuggets right there that, you just implement those 3 things and you're going to see a huge change in your game. And as far as embracing the suck, I think we nailed that home by just understanding that nobody really cares that much. So there's really nothing to be embarrassed about. And we all got to start somewhere, just like you started somewhere with Think React, Leaders for Leaders, which matured into Think React Lead, which is now just this polished looking, very high-end, upscale-looking brand that's attracting that type of client now, which is super, super powerful. So, those are the nuggets. Those are the nuggets that I want to leave you guys with today, because, again, Dom is the experience. He's got the T-shirt now, and he's continuing his journey on, but he's got a valuable lesson in branding, and he's also now being able to have this confidence inside of himself to help other people build that out inside of them. And that's powerful. When you work from that position, it's a win-win situation. And that's why, you do what you do and I do what I do. And that's why it's just the success is there. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it. So I'm going to wrap this up. Dom, any last words? Where can they catch you? I know we said it a couple times, but what's the website they can go to right now?
ThinkReactLead.com.
Simple, easy. www.thinkreactlead.com. Go check him out. He does this really cool things. It's 60 seconds to success.
Yeah.
With Dom,
that's DomDailyCoaching.com, or you can just check it out on Instagram at Dom Fawcett.
Yeah, he's got those little 60-second clips are killer. So I invite you guys to go check him out over there. Dom, thank you again so much for spending the time today to just drop some bombs. So real quick, guys, some housekeeping stuff. If you haven't shared this podcast with a friend or a colleague yet, I would invite you to do so. I appreciate all of the love and support that this podcast has, all of the audience members have been giving, and it's that fuel that really lights me up and keeps me going. This is episode number 82 or 81, I forget, but we're up there, and the podcast is only 2 months old. So big shout out to all of you guys for all of the support. And if you haven't joined the Brand Doctors Hangout on Facebook, go check that out on Facebook right now. Just go to the search query, type in the Brand Doctors Hangout, and join the group. Dom will be in there on a daily, along with about 300 other entrepreneurs that are just helping each other take their brands to the next level. So have an awesome day, guys, and I will catch you on the next episode. Later.
You've been listening to the Brand Doctor Podcast with Henry Kaminski Jr. To get your appointment with the doctor, visit Brand Audit at www.uniquedesignz.net.